Welcome everybody to another episode of Cannabis Review. I'm delighted to be on Kai-Friederich Niermann, who's the founder of KFN Law Firm over in Germany. How are you keeping, Kai?
I'm fine. Hi. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm delighted to have you on the show. I've been going through a lot of Europe and talking to a lot of the leaders and trying to piece together the entire industry. So Germany seems to be is going to be the market leader for Europe and set the kind of blueprint, I think, that a lot of other states in the European Union will follow. So great to talk to an expert like yourself, a man who's at the tip of the spear of this industry.
Thank you.
Perfect. Well, do you want to basically give everybody just a quick little overview of how you got into the cannabis industry, and then we'll kick straight into the three topics?
Sure. So I'm a lawyer since 2003. I had a regular life here in the German countryside, and then Germany decided to legalize medical cannabis in April 2017, sorry. And then I started a blog on the new developments on medical cannabis, and CBD came up at the end of 17, the beginning of 18. Nobody knew in Germany what CBD was. And nobody know how to deal with it legally. What's the legal framework for CBD products? And then I was invited to write for Prohibition Partners European Cannabis Reports. I was invited to the NJBIS conference in 18 to Toronto and became member of the International Cannabis Bar Association. And clients from all over the world, from Europe, national, international, came to me and sought advice for the German market, how to enter the German market, what's the legal framework here. And since 1.5, 2 years, I'm only doing cannabis clients, cannabis-related mandates. And happy to see what's coming along this year as well, because we're looking for a fundamental reform or a fundamental change in cannabis policies, but we will come to that later.
Okay, brilliant, amazing. So a man with a wealth of experience. First topic of conversation I want to talk about is the German hemp industry. I was reading up and I've done my research. 1982 to 1996, for some reason, the whole industry was banned. Is there a reason behind that ban, and what was the reason it got reinstated? Is there something people can learn from that reinstation from today's legalization?
Yeah, so due to the single convention, which was agreed on in 1961, and the following international agreements from 1971, and Germany had to comply and install rules on cannabis and hemp. And by that time, cannabis had a real bad stigma. So they thought we can't even allow low THC cultivation on German soil because it's too complicated. The police can't distinguish between high THC, low THC hemp, and so they banned it completely. What they then saw was that hemp is an excellent and a very versatile plant. Because you can make ropes, you can make textiles, you can make for construction purposes. You can use hemp, and that came back. The awareness of hemp as a power plant, which you can use for everything. So they decided in 1995 to have a reform on the cannabis, on the hemp rules. And they wanted to explore the full market potential of the hemp plant. That was the aim by that time. And then the cultivation was allowed again, with strict rules though. So the bee farm, something like the FDA in America, you have to notify the bee farm that you start growing, that you seed the hemp seeds. Then they come by and control that you really plant the seeds of the hemp plant because you get subsidies from the European Union. And at the end of the harvest period, you have to test it. And it has to be from the European variety catalog. So it has to be a certified EU's variety. And it can't exceed 0.2% THC. At the moment of harvest, 10 days before, 20 days before, and 10 days after. and the rules are all laid down in European Union directives, how to test it, at what time, and the bee farm is coming and checking if everything is fine, and if the EU variety exceeds 0.2 2 years in a row, you can't seed it anymore. Very, very complicated. And the biggest problem for the hemp industry in Germany is that you can't use really the upper part because due to the novel food regulations, you can't really use the flowers for extraction, as the extraction or the extraction market for CBD oils has not yet fully unlocked its potential, as you can't sell so much stuff right now because police raids are going after the CBD shops and stuff like that. So that's a big problem in comparison to Canada and the US and even China. That's a problem which all European farmers and German farmers have as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think what you have happening is the law that got passed by the European Council, that doesn't seem to have been enacted across a lot of the council states. We have it in Ireland as well. And in one side, you can understand the police have no idea what a low THC content plant does look like until it be lab tested. So it's kind of one of those myriad of murky waters at the moment. In terms of the regulatory framework in Germany, how hard is it to get licensed? I have, in some of the reading I was doing, there was 575 licensed hemp producers in 2019. Do you think that's grown significantly? And if so, has it been through an ESA framework, or is it very difficult to apply for a hemp license over in Germany?
For cultivation, you mean?
Yeah.
You have to be a farmer and a full-time farmer. And only farmers are allowed to grow hemp on the soil, and only outdoor, not indoor. And it's even questionable if you can put a tent on the plant if you grow it outdoor. So it has to be in the soil, and you have to be a farmer. But if you're a full-time farmer, you get the license. That's no problem. But due to the fact that the upper plant can't really be used at the moment, we have even the problem with hemp leaf tea. Which was on the shelves for decades in the German retail. And law enforcement decided a couple of weeks ago to go after the hemp leaf traders and shops. You can't imagine, because things are heating up at the horizon of the federal election, because we will expect a change in cannabis policy. So the old law enforcement, the old war on drugs warriors are fighting the last war, so to say. But if you can't even use the leaves from the hemp plant, which you need for your margin, for your costs contribution, that's pretty hard. So for the rest of the plant, for the stem and the fibers, you need a lot of investments. You need expensive machines to really, to get the best out of it and to make the best product for every other purpose. So it's very tricky. It's a very complicated situation for hemp cultivation.
Yeah, right now. And tell me this, and it's something I'm trying to figure out across all the different states. As we know, the different extraction types for getting CBD oil are various. We've found out that across UK and Ireland that a cold-pressed isolate is legal because it hasn't been proved to be part of the novel food and etc. Is that the same in Germany? Are you allowed to freely sell a cold-pressed isolate CBD oil?
We're always looking at the website of the FSAI from Ireland, and they always wrote it on their website. The cold-pressed products are not novel food. For a couple of years. If you look at this webpage now, you can't find the sentence anymore. But I'm happy to hear that the cold-pressed products are still legal in Ireland and not deemed as a novel food. They are not deemed as a novel food in Austria as well, we know for sure. But we know one court decision in Germany from the Administrative Court of Schwerin from May last year. They said, no, it hasn't been on the market before 1997. It's a novel food. Bam. We don't know if this case went to the Court of Appeal. So it's not really clear if cold-pressed products are not novel food. And in my opinion, yes, because it's not an extraction. It's not it's not in the novel food catalog. There are only extracts mentioned, I'm pretty sure you can find evidence that cold-pressed hemp juice has been consumed before 1997 to a significant degree.
Yeah, like any person with a half a brain would realize to cold press something doesn't take a huge technology to be able to facilitate that action. The last thing I want to talk...
Cannabinoids are dangerous in the market.
But
have been consumed for ages, for decades, for centuries, but no.
Yeah, well, we had Professor O'Nivey from one of the famous universities in the States on last week, and he's a professor in biology and molecular science, and he was one of the founders of the CB1 and CB2 receptors, and basically annihilated any reasonable person's argument as to the non-existence of an endocannabinoid system and the benefits of cannabinoids to this system. So I think what's happening is the people who are passionate about legalizing cannabis, on the other side, there's people just as passionate about keeping it illegal. And I think that's the war that's being fought in Europe at the moment. Moving on to the last topic, and again, as we were saying before we came on air, I think Germany is going to be the model for a lot of the European states, the way the structure is put into place. Who are the top 3 companies in Germany do you think of at the moment?
Difficult question, because we have different tiers. We have the medical cannabis space, we have the hemp industry, we have the CBD industry. In the CBD industry, you would definitely have to mention the Sanity Group with their brand Way. They had a couple of investment rounds, and they are very present in the German market with a lot of with a wide variety of products. When you look at the medical cannabis market, you definitely would have to mention the 3 companies which acquired the license for domestic cultivation, which is Aurora, Afria, and the Demican. And if you look at the hemp sector, there are not really big players, but some very important companies like Hempro International from Düsseldorf, which this company is a holding, and they do everything from cultivation to extraction to hemp seed oil and all the basic food stuff for the food industry, for the hemp food industry.
Okay, brilliant. Some good knowledge for everybody there to research those companies. Last thing I wanted to ask you, dronabinol. What are your thoughts on dronabinol? The synthetic version of THC that EuroX, the German company, are creating. So that seems to be where the pharmaceutical companies are creating synthetic versions of CBD and THC.
Sorry, I haven't heard of that. Sorry, I know about synthetic CBD. Synthetic CBD was used in cosmetics for a long time. I haven't seen personally one product with synthetic CBD because it wasn't listed in the single convention, and you could use it according to the European Cosmetic Directive. But yeah, there's something going on. Scientific research and companies are going for the synthetic way. But we will see. It's not very present right now yet.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. It's been a wealth of information. I know the viewers will have liked it as much as I've done. Hopefully we can get to touch base as well towards the end of the year and see how Germany's moved further along the line, and same with Ireland. Yeah,
watch out for Germany this year, September, federal elections, and we will have a green government, and they will legalize with the Cannabis Control Act. And the 1st of January 2024, the first coffee shops dispensaries will open in Germany.
Okay, mark my word. Well, there you go. You heard that here first. Kai, thank you very much, mate. You have a great day, and I look forward to chatting again soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.